Hi everyone, you're watching a GGGaming Gone Mad on Good for the Game TV. It's another massive sporting weekend up ahead. I must say a lot of it leaning towards Friday action. We've got 3 Super Rugby games on Saturday. We've got PSL action on Friday night. We've got English Premier League action. So plenty for punters to get involved with on Friday already. And of course, a busy weekend as well. Before you do anything else, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, just go below the video, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell. You'll get notified of all of our shows, including, of course, the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. That's taking place live every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. But let's get on to this week's sporting action. We're going to be focusing on Super Rugby. We'll also talk about a Varsity Cup. And, of course, we'll have some giveaways for the live viewers on the show, and also for those of you on Twitter who can try and beat Justin's cert, because I've got Justin down there in Cape Town at the moment on the show. Gary was on last week. Justin, good to see you.
Brent, good to be back on the show. Hell of a chilly Cape Town. I think the winter's come a little bit early. But yeah, very excited for the weekend. Obviously, lots of rugby to look forward to, and IPL and whatnot. So yeah, happy to be here. Good to be back on the show and really looking forward to the weekend.
That's it, yeah. Just a quick welcome to the guys on the live show. Ruan, Seen, Peter, Paul, all there already. Guys, yeah, enjoy it. We'll have a little competition for you as well. But Justin, I guess the focus this weekend could be on Super Rugby. We've got 7 matches taking place, including 3 of them taking place tomorrow. And we had Dave Oswald, one of your head traders, on the show on Sunday. It was actually very successful. We sort of opened the handicaps right at the end of the show, and him and I compared caps. And in some cases, I guess I was close, and in other cases, I wasn't. But you sort of kept the caps open there for a while, which I know that the guys enjoyed. But one of the games of interest to me was the Highlanders against the Hurricanes. That's first up tomorrow. I mean, I initially fancied the Highlanders quite strongly. I was a bit surprised when you guys priced up Choice. But looking at the team selections and stuff, yeah, it might be hard for them to win this one.
No, 100%, Brent. Yeah, always coming out on Sundays. It's nice for us. Obviously, we test ourselves without having to look at any of the markets. So between myself, Dave, and Gary, we discuss. We chat about our different opinions, and then we try to form a market in the middle of all of that. With regards to the Highlanders Hurricanes, I like the Highlanders at the beginning of the week. I think the Hurricanes are grossly overrated. I think their forward pack is nowhere. They've just been dominated up front. I can't actually remember when they last beat a handicap. I was relatively confident they were going to open slight favourites. Just because they are seen as the second best team in the competition. I don't know how true that is, but just the bookies generally rate them as the second best team. But as the week's gone on, I've been less and less bullish over the Highlanders. No, Aaron Smith is huge for me. He's one of my favorite players. He's the best 9 in the world. So that's huge. And then the news of Wasaki Noholo, not as big as Aaron Smith, but also big. And yeah, initially I also liked overs here, Under the Roof in Dunedin, but Glenn Jackson's the referee, so I'm just have no idea where to go this game. I'm probably just going to sit out and hopefully watch a good game of rugby. Yeah,
if I didn't know better, I was talking to Henrik Swart. He can't stand Glenn Jackson when he blows, says he spends all his time on a whistle. So certainly a game where it might just be worth sitting out. I might still have a nibble on the Highlanders, but I am quite worried about team selection there. But that takes us to the next game where I know you've got quite a strong fancy, Justin, and that's the Reds against the Stormers taking place in Brisbane. The Reds well beaten by the Rebels last week, and the Stormers, well, they were very disappointing against the Blues. They actually had plenty of chances in that game, but, well, they failed to score a try, which is unfortunately something the Stormers are not very good at, and that's crossing the white line for 5 points.
100%, Brent. These are 2 teams, probably 2 of the worst teams in the competition. Let me tell you, this is going to be a horrible game to watch. It's not going to be that enjoyable. They're going to, yeah, it's just got unders written all over it. The only thing going against unders here is the South African ref, Marius van der Vestes, and all the South African refs generally like to ref a little bit more of an open game. But yeah, I can't choose a winner. Yeah, I think it's going to be a proper arm wrestle, a proper dogfight. And yeah, I'll be cheering knock-ons from the couch.
Right. Well, 50.5, I must say I was surprised to see that point spread, because we're going to have a quick look now at the total points lines between the Reds and the Stormers in recent years. But irrespective, I mean, I know you fancy the unders here, but I think you're going to get a lot of action on the unders. And we will have a special for anyone who's brave enough to take the overs on this game, Justin. But, I mean, I think this is the sort of game where perhaps you're going to get more action on the points lines than on the handicap.
No, yeah, I must be honest with you. Since I've started at GG, there isn't that much interest in the points lines. The odd person comes for a big bet here or there on away team or home team points or even total points, but the majority of the action is on the handicaps. I think that's just the traditional betting product that people go to. But yeah, it would be nice to see more punters go into the points lines. I know a lot of punters don't necessarily like going unders just because it's not the most enjoyable of viewing. You're cheering for knock-ons, for scrums, for disallowed tries. I mean, yeah, but I definitely fancy unders here, and I honestly think in the long run, unders pays more than overs as much as it hates, as much as the viewing isn't great.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I know Henrik is in the same camp. I also battle to go unders sometimes, but it's grown on me over the last few years. You know, cheering every collapse, scrum, and knock-on. And certainly in Brisbane, there's often humidity. But let's just have a look here, Justin, at the past results between these sides. This is in Brisbane. Look, admittedly, they haven't met since 2014. But we got 42 points, 36 points, 39 points. Okay, 50 points. Even that's a winner. 44 points, 41 points. So what do we got? 6 games in a row where this unders handicap would have delivered. And we got the cap sitting there at 50.5. So I think there are going to be plenty of punters storming in. We are going to run a bit of a Twitter competition I'll come to on this game. And that's going to, well, that will be the beat the cert. So we'll come to that at the end as well. But just to let the guys know, the competition on the live chat, let's go with the Highlanders up against the Hurricanes. Guys, we want to know who's going to win that game and by how many points. And the usual rules apply. You've got to get the winner first and then the closest to the total, well, sorry, not the total points, the winning margin. Let's go winning margin. The closest to the winning margin will win a 500 Rand voucher. And well done to Henrik Swart, who's coming on the handicap show a little bit later. He actually nailed that 500 Rand voucher last week. So that's Friday morning's games, Justin, but a big game on Friday night as well. As far as the South African Conference goes, you've got the Lions up against the Sharks. I know we handicapped this game very similar, and I don't think there's been a lot of movement all week, sort of 6.5, 7.5 points. Have you seen any betting action on this one yet?
I think that there's been a little bit of money for the Lions. I'm not too sure why. They have fielded a bit of a improved side. Brink's back at 7. That's big for them. And then obviously they've got a settled tight 5. Deante's back. He's playing 13. I think that could cause some defensive frailties. I know he likes to jump out the line and do a whole lot of other untoward things during the game sometimes. But again, yeah, for me, I'm always opposing the Lions. Not to say I would go for them in certain circumstances, but I still think the bookies are overrating them a little bit. And I think the Sharks at Ellis Park should keep it close. I'm not sure if they'll win, but 6 points or 7 points, if I can give myself 7.5, I think that'll be good enough to go on the plus. Although Sharks, admittedly, are falling off the bandwagon a bit. But yeah, I still think they'll keep it within the cap.
And total points in this game, do you think this could be? I mean, most of the Lions' home games have been high scoring of late. Games against the Hagiaris and the Rebels were very high scoring. But of course, immediately you go to a nighttime game, it is starting to get a bit cooler in Joburg, I can tell you as well. We might have a bit of dew on the pitch. And the Sharks are just really not, I know they play in humid conditions, but perhaps not the sort of side to inspire many high scoring games.
100%, Brent. You've mentioned all the factors that I'd possibly look at when going at points. I mean, firstly, it's a night game. That turns me off a little bit, but not too much because it is at altitude. But most importantly, it's just generally the Sharks brand of rugby. You'll very rarely see a Sharks game go overs or beat the overs by that much. You know, they play percentage rugby. They kick well. They maul well. They defend well. They're just not a team that bodes well with overs. So I probably wouldn't really get involved on definitely the total points. Maybe Sharks points because Lions do leak, and I see the Sharks scoring a few, and you'll probably get a little bit of a lower quote, maybe like 23, 24. I think that'll be a decent player. I see Esterhazen and running through once or twice the Lions midfield. So, yeah.
Right. Well, the boys are very much split, I must say. Looking at the live chat here, Donnie the Toy coming in, Highlanders by 4. Peter Paul Hurricanes by 10, and there's quite a few entries up above that. See Henrik changing his, so he's going to be different to someone else there on that one. So that's on the first game there. We quite split. Lion Sharks have got a feeling on the Twitter competition we're going to be a split as well. But let's move on to the Saturday games. The one I want to focus on, Justin, is the Blues against the Waratahs, because you guys came out minus 4.5, and I did say to Dave on the show that this one I was confident would shift out closer to the 7.5 point mark, and I see that's where it is now. You guys have obviously laid plenty of the Blues, and probably quite a bit of good for the game money there.
No, yeah, all the money's coming for the Blues. Geez, when the handicap starts to shift to like 7-8 for the Blues, I don't know. It is a bit high for me, but I do agree the Tars, besides that victory when they beat the Crusaders in Christchurch, they've been average. They were absolutely poor last week. I actually had them in a decently big multiple for them to win.
Oh,
and the rest won, which was the irritating part about it. So yeah, that was a bit annoying. But yeah, not really one I've thought about too much. I haven't even seen the Tars team, to be honest. I've been quite poor checking up on this, nor the Blues team. But I hear Sonny Ball's out, which isn't. It's big, but it's not that big. So yeah, the Blues have been impressive, and they're building up a head of steam, and I can actually see them winning this. But nothing on the cap for me.
Right, yeah, the Blues still, although I've done quite well on them the last couple of weeks, they're still not the sort of team you can really fly into with any confidence. Just the other game I want to focus on before we perhaps chat a bit of other sport is the Bulls against the Jaguares. I think I came out, and I think you guys are quite similar, 9.5, 10.5. And I think on the basis of Bulls team news, the Jaguares have shortened here. They are now plus 7.5. Is that weight of money, or just an adjustment really on the team news?
I think it was more an adjustment on the team news. I think obviously when team news comes out, initially people would have hammered down the 9.5 and the 8.5, and now it's settled, I think, around 6. But the Bulls, yes, Pollard's a big loss, but the Mani Leboeck, the replacement 10, he's an adequate replacement. I mean, he's a decent player himself, and I think with the team that the Bulls have put out, overs could be a great play here because it's a 3 p.m. kickoff as well. Only thing again is the referee. I think it's Paul Williams from New Zealand, if I stand to be mistaken. He's not a great overs ref, but 3 p.m. at Loftus, you definitely can't go unders. So yeah, and I see even in some places you can get Bulls -5. At those lines, I'm quite interested to go Bulls.
I was also interested at the sort of 4.5, 5.5 level. I also hear what you're saying on points, because I think Leboeck as well, he's very much a running fly half. And perhaps, I mean, I don't want to judge the guy harshly because I haven't watched enough of him. Maybe not as strong on defense as Pollard as well. So we could definitely get some points. The only thing, Justin, I must tell you, I'm absolutely burning still from the Bulls against the Chiefs, where I flew into Bulls over 30.5 points. I mean, they were 33.5 everywhere. I got 30.5. I thought this is an absolute gift. And I mean, they turned in one of the most sordid performances of the year. They only got to 20. I was gone from probably the 20-minute mark. So you've taken a beating like that as a punter, and you'll know it's quite hard sometimes to lift yourself and go back to the well.
100%, Brent, 100%. Yeah, the trust has gone there, I see. But yeah, it's like me when the Jaguares play in Buenos Aires. I think I've got probably about a 7 to 8% strike rate there. I always go to bed crying on a Saturday with those late 11 p.m. kickoffs. So I think from now I'm binning it, and I'm just going to either go out and jaw, or I'm going to go to bed. I think it's just one of those two options the next time they play in Buenos Aires.
And I think it was Henrik who said once as well, the coverage in Buenos Aires is not that great either. So you sit up, you watch the game, and you do your money, and you can't even really claim to be entertained because the angles are not right and all of that. I can't remember who said it once on a handicap show, but it may even have been the Oracle. But yeah, I fully agree with you there. But let's move on then to some other rugby. I will come back to your unders beat the cert at the end of the show. But some other sport this weekend, we've got, of course, FA Cup semi-finals taking place. Man City, big favourites against Brighton. I know you don't look too much at the soccer there, Justin, but I do like my team, Watford, a little bit to beat Wolves in the other semi-final. I just feel that Watford are playing some good football of late and perhaps been slightly underestimated by the bookies, who do have Wolves as the favourites for this one, albeit fairly tight. And for me, though, I've got to say the FA Cup, not quite the competition it was years ago.
No, 100%, Brent. I think with more obviously interest being in the Premier League title and the Champions League and all the rest of it, it's hard to find much interest in the FA Cup and whatnot. But it is still regarded as a major trophy there over there in England, and I'm sure the supporters of Watford and the smaller teams that can't really run for the title or for other championships, I'm sure they'll go hell to leather for the win on Saturday. So yeah, I'm sure Watford's a decent runner when they play Wolves.
Right. Well, thanks to Brad Chislett on the live chat saying I'm probably the only Watford supporter in South Africa, or at least the only one who admits to it. But hey, I do acknowledge we're not a top side. But this year we're not going too badly. Currently sitting 8th, just 1 point in one position actually behind Wolves. So going to be a very even match, that one. Just want to talk a little bit quickly. We don't have betting, I'm sure, yet, but on the Varsity Cup, we've got the semi-finals coming up, and probably quite predictable semi-finals. We've got Marties against Shimlers at home. Marties have been dominant, haven't lost a game, Justin. And then we got Tuks against Picker in Pretoria. I think a couple of cracking semi-finals there. Would you say Marties are a banker, though?
No, Marties should definitely beat Shimlers. I think one of my mates that also punts, he sent me a message yesterday that WSB came out Shimlers 34 plus 34.5, which is huge for a semi-final. Yes. I mean, and Shimlers can play, you know. So yeah, I think that's way too big. I wouldn't even be surprised if that's down a few points, although I haven't checked. So that should be a good semi to watch. And then the other one, Tuks, Picker have really come into their own in the last 2 weeks. Geez, they absolutely
have.
And then they also put 60 past CUT, who also aren't a bad side from the TV games I've watched. So, geez, I wouldn't even know whether. I'm sure Tuks are pretty strong favourites as well. But after Tuks slipped up against UCT and Picker playing great rugby, I think that'll be the marquee semi, and then Marties to cruise through probably by 20 odd points. So yeah, Marties, Tuks or Picker final will be quality.
Right, I see the handicap has come into 32.5, and you got Tuks minus 5.5. But I agree with you there. I'm not sure what to make of that game. You know, Tuks beat Picker 28-0 a couple of weeks ago, a match where I was on overs points, I must tell you. You can tell the sort of run I'm on at the moment by the way I'm talking. But, I mean, yeah, the way Picker played, I mean, some of those tries they scored against Wits were just, I mean, I didn't actually have any money on the game. But I've seldom enjoyed a Varsity Cup game like that. It was magnificent rugby they were playing. And they've always had a very good defence. You know, they kept, I think it was Shimlers dominated them in Bloem a while back, and they ended up, you know, keeping Shimlers out for long periods. So they may be peaking at just the right time. There's going to be some entertaining viewing there. And what sort of price would tempt you, though, for an outright for Marties? I'm talking to win the title now. We only got a couple of weeks left. What would the bookies have to go to tempt you to have an outright bet?
Yeah. I would have to go to at least 5 to 10. If it wasn't 5 to 10, I wouldn't bet. Although I think they are assured to win. Although I've said it all along, or since Tuks played decent rugby, that they can beat Marties on their day because up front they can beat them, and they've got a super rugby coach, Nolis Murray. If he goes to the Donny Craven, he'll come with the correct tactics to be able to beat Marties. Yes, they've got quality wingers and like their fullback and whoever else in their backline, but Nolis Murray will come with astute tactics to be able to beat the Marties.
Right. Well, let's have a look at your overs play. This is now the beat. Okay, let's. I'm going to pop one slide back there, Justin. Beat the cert. Reds v Stormers under 50.5 points. That's your bet. I don't think the boys are going to be getting too excited about this R1,000 voucher yet, because I think most of them fancy the unders as well, which is fair enough. But if the cert is beaten, then they can tweet the game winner and total points in the Lions v Sharks game and win R1,000 voucher if it loses. So, for example, they could say Sharks are going to win and 54 points, and they have to say at Brent Graham in the tweet so that I can find it, and hashtag GGGaming gone mad. So I'm expecting the boys to probably hold back a little bit on this one and see, and I'll certainly tweet a reminder if this game goes over 50 points tomorrow. And then while we're on that topic, overs in Brisbane. If you do like overs, if you disagree what most has been said on the show tonight, and no one will blame you if you do, then you can get 12 to 10 over 55.5. And to do that, you just email Justin rowroberts@gmail.com, and you've got to place your bet. Justin, if you're happy with this, I've said before 10:45 tomorrow morning, but if you think the line is going to move a lot or something, we can make that a different time.
No, try get it in before 10, just before the end of the Highlanders Hurricanes game, and then just preferably Brent. Obviously, they must have an active account at GGGaming, and then preferably have the funds that you require for your bets. Obviously, you can place up to 2,000 Rand per person. Have those in your account so that I can place the bet for you at the adjusted price, because we're not going to adjust the price on the site. This is just for the players and for the guys on the forum and whatnot. So if you want to, after this, also post it on the forum. Tell for the guys that can't view tonight. We'll
mention it on the handicap as well. So guys can they place the bet and then send it to you to be adjusted, or would you rather they just email you the bet?
I would rather them email me, then I'll place the bet for them at the adjusted odds, because they won't be able to get the 12 to 10. They'll get the 9 to 10, and I'd obviously it would be in their favor to get the 12 to 10.
And he will, okay, I'm going to say he will place your bet. And just to make sure that we don't have any confusion, I'm quite handy on the old keyboard, eh? Oops, not so much. Okay.
If things are busy tomorrow and it doesn't reflect on their account, if they've emailed me before 10, the bet will stand and they'll get paid out regardless.
Okay,
sure.
Great. Okay, perfect. That's great. So there it is, guys. You can have one last look at it. You can come back and watch the show if you've got any doubts there. Justin, thanks very much. It's good having you on the show. Going to be a very busy weekend of rugby, busy for you guys, and look forward to probably catching up with Dave again on Sunday for another live handicap show. And I think the boys really enjoyed that one and a great initiative.
100%, Brent. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, after this weekend's fixtures, we'll relook at next week's and set those handicaps, and then yeah, it'll be a show on Sunday for sure. All the best. Enjoy the weekend and have a lekker one.
Lekker, and thanks to all the guys in the live chat. We'll keep an eye and see who wins the competitions on that one. And guys, go grab a quick cup of tea, and you can join us at 9 o'clock for the handicap rugby chat that matters. I'm going to be joined by Henrik Swart and Hein Dumont, the Oracle Rugby. Well, he's on a bit of a sabbatical at the moment after his hectic driving and talking last week on the show. He won't be joining us. But thanks very much for joining us on the show. And yeah, you can drop it down below and just make sure you subscribe, share it and like it as well. It'll help our YouTube rankings. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in about 8 minutes' time.